Hello and welcome to Sugar, Silk and Stretch, a unique boxing podcast brought to you exclusively by Ace Podcast Nation. My name's Ben Doughty.
My name is Michael Silk Olajide. El Será.
And moments earlier, I was below Michael on the deck where he dropped me.
That was Ben's
looked,
doing, actually.
and it felt comfortable.
Yeah.
That would
So,
have happened
gentlemen.
if we fought. If I fought Silk, I'd have been looking up to him and said, "Silk, no more."
Well, you're funny. You're a competitor. It would have been.
I'd have said, "No more, Silk, please, no more."
Yeah, okay. We both would have had our hands full. Let's just leave it at that. But I am looking forward to you and Ben going at it. That I don't know which way. I don't know which
I
way that.
need a lawyer to get me off with manslaughter.
Yeah. You should be all right, to be fair. It's.
I hope. Well, I'll just run.
Yeah. Good idea. Listen, boys. Regardless of that, I mean, that day will come, and you will all.
Oh God, that's a threat. That day will come.
Yeah, but anyway, listen.
I haven't slept since.
No.
Evening, Danny.
So last night we had the big 5 versus 5 thing in Riyadh. I want to talk about the phenomenon itself and how it went. I want to talk about the fights. Mr. Olajide in the middle here has a major gripe and something he really wants to get off his chest. But is it okay? Can I have your consent?
Off his chest. Let's lead in with Michael's frustration.
My significant chest. Let me get it off my significant chest, because I think it's a very important thing that and I think the fans at this point, or the people who tune into the show, they can come in. Please comment, give your opinion on this. I'll give you, and you guys are going to interrupt and say that isn't exactly how it was, but it's exactly the way it was. So let me start right here. So we're having this little tete-a-tete right now, and I'm hoping the fans of Sugar, Silk and Stretch can help us sort this whole thing out. That's basically it, right? But before, I guess I should state it before I ask whose brainchild this one was. But we have this friendly contest going on where we predict the outcome of the fights, and if you win, you get a win in the win column. If you lose, you get a loss in your loss column. So right now our records are what, Ben?
Well, no, I'm going to tell you the new records what they are.
Hold on, let me finish my point. You don't want to state what they are. That's fine. Okay, we'll go on.
I'm going to tell you what they are now, not what you think they are.
Let Michael get off his chest, and then we'll comment.
Do this then, do this then, Ben. What were they before last night?
13,
Can I just say something quickly to clarify?
Okay.
Can I say something? Okay, so this is how I see it, and the viewers could chime in. Everyone loves Michael, and no one, and me more than anyone. I have a crush on Michael. I think I maybe turn it the other way, but we have a contest. It's fun, and it's a contest that lets the viewers look into our minds, how we feel about fights, how we break them down. We got a little point system so that we can make notes, and it's fun. Obviously, no one is, it's just all in good barter. Of course, Ben's behind drastically, so that's become a subject for Michael and Ben as this competitive edge. However, so we have this contest now. As each week, the fights vary and venues change. And this particular week, there was a new kind of venue with a new type of fight, where it was the promoters versus the promoter, and there was 5 fights. And so all Ben did was he said, "Okay, let's just score it as the contest is being scored on TV. We'll just add that concept to us. We'll score it like this."
No, it was your idea, Gary.
Okay.
I didn't know who changed it. I just want to
Gary did it. Let me finish.
And somebody changed the operating system, and that was Ben. That's all I'm establishing. Please.
No, it wasn't me. It was Gary. Gary.
Okay, Ben. Let me finish. Let me. Whoever it was, that was the idea. My idea, your idea, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But had Silk been here, he would have probably said okay, and he would have had a first shake with all of us. Now, the bottom line was he wasn't. So we said, okay, we'll get Silk's pick for the 5, and we'll score it as it was. Now, so it's completely equal, continually even. Now, I don't know what happened, whether he scored the 5 or not. He dealt with you, Ben. But if he did, then the points would have been.
He didn't deal with me. He didn't give anything. All he said was we both picked Bivol. He assumed he picked Bivol, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't deal with me.
Well, I gave him that because I know a little bit that he would have picked Bivol, so we know that's an obvious choice, right? So that was a given. So no problem. So he wasn't here. So the object of this conversation is if one of us is in absence, or that's no problem if they phone the choices in.
Record it.
If
like he's done before.
Yeah, and if not, then do we score anyway or not? Because I mean, it's a slightly a motivation to be here for every show. We're all busy. We all know. I know Ben's training people like left, right, centre. I'm on a movie right now. Silk's doing a Broadway show. So the issue is, if we're not here in the absence, do the other two go forward and score, or does the show go on hold and we don't score? That's the issue.
But the also issue is you said, which I thought was a good idea, Gary. You said, let's do it, Ben. You said, let's do it on the before you knew Silk wasn't going to make it. You said, let's use the same point system that they're using.
If we're all together, yes.
2 points for a knockout, okay.
Yes.
1 point for a regular win, and the team captain's points are doubled if you happen to be on him. And I said, yeah. And you said to me, Ben, no, wait a second. And you said, Ben, you could come right back in here. This is a lifeline for you. And I thought it sounded fun, so I went with it.
Fun, and
I knew he was going to scream blue murder. Blue murder when it happened.
I thought Silk was on the show, and then I found out he wasn't. And then I said, no problem, let him put his pick in. And we'll do it anyway. And then I don't know if he put a pick in or he didn't.
No, I didn't put a pick in. You know why, Gary? I tell you why I didn't put a pick in, because I wasn't aware of it beforehand. What happened was Ben said at the end when it was all done, oh, I got 10 extra points. And all of a sudden,
four.
And all of a sudden he went from like, what was your record, Ben, to something else. And I'm like, how was that?
I went from 13-10 to 2013
this
last night.
Is afterwards, Gary. This is not
13-10 to 2013.
There's no conversation.
I'll tell you what we do.
My opinion was not asked beforehand.
Okay. I'll tell you what we do, Ben.
At the end, Ben said he has 10 more points than he usually has.
I tell you what we do. We cancel them scores out, and then we make a deal right now on air, whether or not, if someone's not on the show, they phone it in and it's put down, and whatever
recorded.
And we have to, and then we score it. However, equally, if it's a new system like the other night, they're still in the game and it's fair. But because there's a bit of confusion in this, it does seem a bit unfair if Silk's getting hammered by 10 points if he's not even.
So let's just take our normal points, regular points, then, Gary. I'll take my 3-3. You take your 4-2. Yes.
Okay.
Is that acceptable, Mr. Elijah Day?
Yeah, I mean, it was my choice. I didn't want to like get bet on all of them, right?
Because why did you not come in with such a big show, Silk?
With all of them, I didn't bet on all of them because there were guys I didn't know. I said I don't think. I said I don't think I should be up for. If I haven't seen him before, I should. Then it's like a gambling show. You're just throwing it.
No, but I hadn't either, so I had to go on YouTube and look it up and make my choice. It took me an hour before.
Yeah, but that's all right too. I understand that, but then like sometimes that isn't an option.
It's not really for
it's not like either one of us are getting paid an hourly wage for doing this. None of the three of us are, in fact.
Right, but it's not fair for Ben if he's on the show every week and he's
sure. Some of us are profiting more than others. I understand.
No,
one thing I need to say is that our audience are not buying into this because they're all talking amongst themselves about the things that they feel from last night. They're interested in the fights. So can we agree? We've upheld it, Silk. We're not getting away with that point scoring system. You've successfully quashed that in the European Court or the Supreme Court, whichever one has the jurisdiction. And we're gonna get. We understand why you didn't chime in. Maybe we'll all take notes for the future. We live and learn and we go on together. But we're not going to pull that on you. Gary has immediately rescinded his position. That's fair enough. I'm with that.
Thank you, Gary. I was getting such flashback from Ben last night. But thank you, Gary. That's
why does it? Yeah, okay.
Gentlemen.
No, but I understand Ben's position completely. But on this one, we'll just make a point. Let's take it all back, and then in future we have to have some kind of clarity.
It's too bad because I had something I wanted to say to you guys. I have to kill it now. Jesus, it was
in the end. Yeah, you were getting ready for one of your party pieces, your musical performances, no doubt, or it was an impression of somebody. Listen, guys, Before we talk about the fights, because I want to get this into a more of a kind of professional show kind of vibe. That was a nice little aside, but like I say, they weren't really commenting on that. They were commenting on the fights last night. Skilk, first thing is you said, and I understand where you're coming from, but last night before it even started, you said this team concept doesn't work. That boxing is not a team sport. This brings nothing extra value to the table. That was a great card last night, and I think this is what we need, not fake
Yes, it was a great
championships.
card. It was a great card, but it was a card that should have been done without the 5-5 team system. What difference does that make?
Because that's what it's taken to put this together, the elements of competition and the promoters' egos. I'm okay with that, Silk. That we are so fractured and it's been so abused and bastardized over the last 50 years. I've always said we need more tournaments and less fake titles. Because
I'll tell you
whenever we
what I
had a
don't
tournament,
like. I think Silk's on this vibe like me. I don't like the lights on these promoters. Like they become the star of the show and they're not
Yeah.
doing any fucking fighting.
Yeah,
yeah, true.
100%.
Some people have said that they did. The promoters are too
100%.
visible, but
And who does the $4 million bonus go to? It goes to the
$3 million.
Queen's. Well, $3 million. Then who's that go to? That's not divided between the fighters and
Apparently
the
it is, Silk, but it's
and the
it's a
managers?
bit of a grey area. It's a bit of a grey area. They said you've got $3 million to distribute between your fighters. They said to Frank, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah."
Hey, Gary, you've been through it like me. Have you ever met any manager or promoter that gets a $3 million bonus and splits it with his fighter after he's already like the fighter's got his? You know what I mean? You get paid for your fight, just as the promoter gets money for his promotion, and then there's an extra $3 million. Does anyone ever come back to the fighter say, "Here, you're cut," and it's not contractually like negotiated? It's not.
No, the fighters should split that really, but it won't happen. You know that.
Yeah, this is just the common knowledge of the game.
What we'll have to look into that, Silk, or it's such as we possibly can. What I think is whether people care for it or not, the rivalry between the promoters and seeing them at ringside and seeing their reactions, and even seeing them on the plane going back where Frank is taking the piss out of Eddie, saying, "I'm in row 5. There's going to be a 5-hour delay. It looks like we're going to, anything to do with 5, like high five, give me a high five." I think that does add to the marketing of it, and it adds a bit of color and charisma
Yeah,
to
sure,
the
of
whole
course.
story.
That's all well and good. It's great for their personalities. All ha ha ha, and all good. I like that. But you know what? The fighters need to be paid, and fighters should be paid for what they're doing, putting it on them. They deserve a cut of that money.
They're getting massive money for fighting out there. To be fair, Silk,
And
I
the
know
promoters
that
getting
much.
massive amounts of money for not fighting at all, right?
Yeah.
At the same time.
And you've always said, Silk.
In fact, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably the Saudis that are putting up the major amount of the money.
You're
All
not
the
wrong.
money.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong
Okay.
at all.
All right. So where does
Silk,
their
you've always said-
where does the risk come in? That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's been removed, which is why we're seeing these great, fantastic cards. Because usually, Silk, because I was talking to one of my mates last night. I said, "Did you watch the Saudi show?" He said, "I only saw the main event." I said, "Well, then you missed the trick, mate, because normally people tune in for main events, even quite committed boxing fans sometimes, because they see the rest of it's all like 80-20, 70-30. Last night, there was all good. There wasn't a dud fight in the whole card.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't normally roll the dice with Hamza Shiraz
Yeah.
against a dangerous
Yeah.
guy like that. But they're
Yeah.
going to do it now because they're getting paid, and and I think even if they lose, they can be brought back. They said, remember, did you see that Turkey Al Sheikh said to Malik Zinad last night, "We will have you again. We like you.
Yeah.
You did very well. You distinguished yourself."
It's
Yeah.
it's
So-
a chocolate factory now. They're all getting bundles of money. It's amazing. I'm so happy for everyone.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy for the fighters. I'm happy they're making money. The promoters are always making money, win, loss, draw, whatever it is. They're making their money. Managers generally are too. It's great to see fighters getting paid, but fighters will always fight. There's no fighter. I've never met a fighter in history when you said, "Listen, fighter A, do you want to fight fighter B?" I've never heard fighter B say no, unless they're told by their manager to say no because of some reason or because of some monetary reason, or they're negotiating, it's not the right time or whatever. But fighters will always fight one another. That's what they're born and bred to do. It's in your nature as a fighter. I've never said no to any fighter any time in my life.
It would be
when
I've
embarrassing,
met
wouldn't it?
fighters who don't want to fight certain guys, though. I agree with you in principle, fundamentally, yes. But I've met fighters, especially more modern era fighters, more entitled generation, who are more like they don't want to fight this guy, they want to fight that guy. I remember Tyrone Crawley, even this is a long time ago. He once said he didn't want to fight a black fighter on a certain show. He said only a Latin or maybe a white. I remember
and,
that one time.
and
Yeah.
why? I mean, I think that's going a little bit out of bounds with it. I don't know. He probably said it for another reason, and not because he thought the black fighter was better or would beat him, or what? Like, why
I
would he
think
say
something like that. He thought that you remember that preoccupation in the 1980s in particular that black fighters would default better than white fighters, not necessarily than Latinos, but certainly
Yeah.
than white fighters. In
In the
America, certainly.
80s, it's going on now. They're still better than we are.
I think it depends. I think it's turned around a little bit to a degree. I mean, things are not the same as they were in the 80s.
Well,
That's for sure.
I think
Gary.
you have a deeper pool to come from now. Now that the world is boxing is truly a global sport again, and you have the Eastern Europeans you're coming in now, so
Yeah.
the talent pools are bigger. Whereas you're exposed to a lot of minorities, because they didn't have any other options but to fight their way up. Sports was the only way. Sports and entertainment was the only way. And now
But-
for these fighters in Eastern Europe, sports and entertainment is the only way. So you're going to see
Yeah.
them dominate.
Like you got the Jews and Italians way back in the day, in the 30s, 20s, and 30s.
Exactly.
And
They
the
didn't have
Irish.
any options, and this is what they had to do. So you get
They
like
move up a notch.
you get the whole gene pool pitching in, and of course you're going to get the best of the gene pool, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best
I'm
of your
going to
instinct.
come back because I've finished my thing. I'm going to go on my computer because it's uncomfortable this far.
Okay.
Okay.
But Michael, one thing you've always said when people talk about greatest promoter or best promoter of this era and all that, you always say, "Come on, let's not go to town on having the promoter Oscars. It's not rocket science. You market fights, you put fights on, you pay fighters as little, the least you can get away with in theory a lot of the time."
Yeah.
You were saying so you're almost saying there is no greatest promoter, and there are no. A bit like Russell Peltz said that he doesn't feel comfortable going in the open top parade at Canastota on the Sunday. He says, "Who the hell wants to cheer for a promoter driving through the town?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there are promoters that tend to like make good fights. Like Don King made a lot of great fights, but those fights were there to be made. And I don't know if they're necessarily because of him, but for the fighter's personality and ability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he comes up the money to stage the fight, but what is he doing what is he doing to make the fight more of an experience for the person that's going to be putting their butt in the seat than anything else? I mean, if I go, look, a promoter's putting on a fight, okay, all well and good. I would much rather watch that fight for the entertainment value out of my home than I will going down to the venue. Like, what are they doing what are they doing for the live fight that makes it different from anything else? I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of production these days, but going to last night, right? I think somebody said to us, Sid Boggle, thoughts on a proposed Saudi tournament, USA versus Mexico. I think this formula could run quite successfully. You could have Golden Boy versus Matchroom or Queensbury, PBC even, although I know Heyman seems reluctant to do business with outsiders. But you know what I mean? I think this is something we should welcome. Because last night was a stacked card, and it wasn't like waiting for the main event and watching a bunch of guys.
You were getting good fights on the way up, but I don't think it's sustainable. I just don't think it's sustainable. Like how
Maybe
many
not.
How many fighters do these guys have? They don't have enough to sustain it.
They should just make the best fighters fight the fighters, and whoever the promoter is, it doesn't matter. It's an open book, and stop making the promoters the star of the show because it's
it's the way. Yeah, exactly. It's the way it's always been. The fighters are the guys, and now you're going to change the game up. What are the bad things that can happen by this? Well,
you could ruin careers.
The worst things are like a form of nepotism or something like you have guys, promoters like, okay, you are not going to be fighting at all ever for any significance if you don't join me because I'm one of the group of 5 or 5-on-5 thing, and no other promoter can get you in. So in order for you to get money and really get money and have it just goes against the nature of fighting because fighting is so singular, so individualistic. It isn't a team concept and it isn't a team sport. There is kind of a way to make it like to kind of incorporate it, but nothing so like obvious or generic as that. I don't think it makes a difference. And as was said in a couple of the texts that I received from some friends and stuff, they said like this. Where's the upside in for fighters? Fighters aren't like, oh my God, my teammate's losing. I got to win for my teammate. Or
They probably do get sucked into it a bit, Silk, when you've been with those guys all week or weeks leading up to it. And
No, they get into 3 million bonus if your team wins. That's about it.
and as long as they're getting the cut, and that's debatable.
You know what? It counteracts the whole premise of Turkey Al-Rashid, because he was supposed to like fuck the promoters and the egos. We just get the fighters together. Now it's foul on the promoters again. So you're giving them more control, like Silk says, rather than less.
Yeah.
The whole idea of him coming in was to get rid of the promoters.
It might fuck the sanctioning bodies up, though, Gary. That might be welcome, because I almost forgot boxing politics last night until Daniel Dubois was parading the IBF interim belt. You know, a couple of weeks after the division was historically unified by Usyk. And that was the thing that dragged me back to modern boxing politics just for a second, because I was actually enjoying an excursion from it last night, you know?
Right.
So maybe the sanctioning bodies could get weakened by this phenomenon.
How so?
Did he? There was
because people might set less store by them, and they'd be more interested in the big fights, the fights that make sense.
I mean,
the
there has to be a rating
money.
system. There has to be an organization in order to put fighters like.
We don't need those clowns. So let's have a new one.
I was excited about the new undisputed belt, which would fuck with the other belts, for the fact that if that was the belt that when they really put these guys together, that was the belt you fight for, then that would become the most dominant belt that everybody wants. If it's real fights with real guys, and he can put them together because he's got the money, fights that normally people would avoid, and for that undisputed belt, then that belt would become very strong, and that would be the belt they all want, because that's the one that's respected the most. That's what I thought he was going to do, which would have been very healthy. Now all this promoter shit, like Silk says, now they're going to get such power. You can go with Frank Warren, he'll get you with Turkey Al-Rashid or whatever. That's bullshit. You should be a good fighter, and if you're good, the Saudis should want you on the show and put you against anybody's. And they should get a small hall promoter with a good manager who's had known the kid forever. They got nothing. They start beating everybody, and this guy will put him in a big fight with Frank Warren's guys, and you can stay with your little promoter and be loyal and still get the opportunity just based on you're a great fighter. That would have been extremely healthy for the sport. Now it's all about got to sign with this promoter, that promoter, because they're running the ship again. And so back to bullshit.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. But I just looking at us right now, Gary, I just have to say you and I look like you got the white vest on, I got the black vest on.
Ebony and ivory.
Yeah, we look like a Benetton ad.
We could be partners.
No, check it out. Ben
Like
is on. Here's
Mike.
Ben. Ben is on the left, and you and I are Eton. Benetton. There you go. There you go. That fits all three of us in it.
United Colors of Benetton, and then Ben is the angry. That.
No, he's the guy he's the guy that profits from it. He's Ben.
Ben's that Moji, the angry one you talked about.
You see that he's getting resentful of me. He's actually keeping a resentments list now. He's getting resentful of me getting a free trip to the States. Never mind the fact that he was totally bankrolled. He was comped in hotels and at red carpet gatherings.
I heard you got your cameras sponsored and everything. You've been doing well.
I did. That took me by surprise when he was actually lamenting the camera. It's like that's for all of us. That really is. I don't do anything else.
Michael, next he'll be getting his rent paid, and
of course, yeah. Hey, listen, we're the boxers, right? We always get screwed. We always get last. We're used to it.
I feel like Ben's the promoter on the show.
Ben's the promoter, exactly.
I'm certainly the only one who promotes it. But listen, let's go fight by fight, gentlemen. Let's go fight by fight.
At least we've given you something to promote.
Yeah, exactly. And like Don King said, before they met me, they didn't have nothing to rub. So, but anyway, let's go with the first fight. Willie Hutchinson, who you did pick, Gary, rather savvily, as often is the case, was quite a revelation. Richards, I did have my reservations about him, as you knew from the show we did, the preview show. But Richards seems to lack urgency when the chips are down, whereas Hutchinson boxed really well. He's quirky, he's different angles, all that.
I didn't like his personality at all when he talked after. I thought he sounded like an idiot. Like I thought as many fans as he won, when he opened his mouth, he lost, because I thought, what a little fucking idiot, you know?
Do you know what's weird, Gary? They bill him from Scotland and he's called Braveheart. He don't sound Scottish. He sounds Northern. That's not an
Yeah,
issue. That's
no,
allowed. But
and so arrogant, and like I thought, if he'd have been humble, he'd have got a million fans last night. Because I was completely open. I thought, who's this kid? I've not seen much of him, and then he talked like he was the fucking shit, and I thought, you know, it's great. You had a good fight. Be humble, be nice, and get some fans. But for me, it just turned me off. I would cross the street to watch him fight again.
okay.
So I just don't like his personality whatsoever. I thought, and I'm from that neck of the woods if he's northern, so it's sad for me because I thought great fight. I was waiting to hear good lads, appreciative, and just I'm the man. You know what? We'll see how long you last.
Yeah, because he's not that good. I mean, he's really
No,
not that
at
good.
all.
I mean, it's a
Not
good
at
performance.
all. Very average for me.
Okay, moving on to the next fight.
What's a plonker?
A plonker is like a pejorative term, kind of Cockney pejorative term, very popular in a British iconic sitcom called Only Fools and Horses. In particular, Only Fools and Horses popularized the whole plonker phenomenon, didn't it, Gary?
Yeah, you know
what does it mean?
It means just like a dick.
Says he's a plonker. You know, Plonker's like a fucking idiot because you know what? He had every opportunity to have a little humility, praise his opponent, say a great fight. I'm really grateful for because he should be. Got an opportunity of a lifetime. He took it. He fought like a champ. I give it to him. All plaudits. But it would be nice, a little humble and generosity, and he would have made a lot of friends. Last night I was just like, whatever. You know, I can't wait for him to get beat now. So shut him up.
Yeah.
He
struck the wrong chord with Gary Stretch. Sean Graham says, by the way, could we do a thing where a fan joins one of the podcasts for a little bit of the podcast?
Yes.
We could pay to help the channel. We'll look into that. We'll look into those particular appearances. I think that's something we could do. It would be a lot of fun.
Gary, we have to make sure we check out Ben first. Make sure he checks out, because if the check's going to go to him first as the promoter, you know what's going to happen.
Well, we've not seen a penny we've earned, have we?
You're not, you haven't. And the thing is, why don't we blow this fucking thing up, right? So we've actually got some money to argue about.
We don't trust you though now, Ben.
Do you know what gives me misgivings? Do you know
you'd be getting all kinds of stuff without us, trips, equipment. Me and still fucking starving.
Do you know? I even got served in a chip shop first just because I said I knew you, Gary, the other day.
Without a beating.
Yeah. But listen. Funny thing is, I see that going back and forth on YouTube still. It recommends videos to me. Gary Stretch responds to claims he was knocked out in chip shop, or someone else claims this, that, and the other. It's really got legs, that whole story.
Knocked out by everyone in every chippy in the northwest of England. So,
but one thing I'll say is, you know that old adage, be careful what you wish for. One thing I have misgivings about, if this show blows up and starts making lots of money, like the big hitters, like IFL TV, like Fight Hub, like Boxing King Media, Boxing Social, if we ever get into that turf and there's a lot of revenue, there's been enough arguments over fucking point systems and the tiniest things, especially with the man in the middle there. I'm really dreading us actually having some money to argue over. I've got to tell you.
No man in the middle.
We will not have money because we will have a system that it goes directly into each of our accounts.
Yeah.
And there will be no trusting anyone because that's not the way it works. It's a simple system, and everyone's happy. And
I like it.
But I'm not here for the money, to be honest. That would be nice, of course, if we valued. But I just enjoy talking about boxing and.
Yeah, it would be nice to have an halfpenny or two, you know.
No, of course.
Halfpenny or two.
Like you, and you've had a few fish and chips from this show. Me and Silk are starving.
Yeah, we're starving.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh well. I actually ordered scampi as well. I'd just like to read out this comment by Sean Graham. It says, Boxing Social was good when Ben was on it. It's gone downhill since. Just a random comment I selected for no particular reason. Listen, guys, moving on to the second fight on the show. Gary,
you know why you're great on this show, Ben? You know what your biggest asset, honestly, is?
Go on.
You make me and Michael look handsome.
Yeah. Well, that's not difficult. That's not difficult, to be fair, because you are regarded as handsome, both of you, in a context anyway. You in particular, Gary, regarded as legendarily so. I mean, people still talk about that. Like, when you come to listen, by the way, you want to talk about handsome. I will get to the main business. Don't worry, viewers. But listen, Gary, when you come to London next, you need to meet a friend of mine called Maxine, who is just one of your biggest fans. Her favourite fighters ever, her real heartthrob fighters, were you and Alan Minter. Alan's no longer with us, sadly. But she said,
what's her name?
Maxine Green. Give her a shout out. Go on, say something
Hello,
to Maxine.
Maxine. I'd love to meet you, my love, and I hope I don't disappoint you when you say you're better on TV. But that's normally the camera does lie, so most people.
She makes really good cakes too. She's a cake maker, and she makes the most amazing cakes. Like she designed you.
Well, I want a cake for a kiss.
Hey Gary, Gary, how are you spelling meat?
Meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny. I can't wait to meet you. Imagine it like as in
meet you. MEAT. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
guys.
Which way you were going with this?
Don't be disrespectful to Maxine. She's a good girl.
Yeah, exactly. Why you got?
Why
you
wants to give me a cake and a
cup
cup of tea? That's all she wants. A cake and a cup of tea. And at my age, that's all I need.
She's going to be buzzing, and when I clip this bit out and send it to her. Listen,
I love Maxine. You tell her I love her.
Okay, I'm trying to get to the second
great taste in men. Great taste in me and Minter. I'll take that as a great.
Anyway, guys. So sorry, Gary. You and I thought that Raymond Ford might have just nicked it, although we didn't particularly. We didn't query the decision last night.
I give it to him. Yes.
The Silk says it was a route for Ford.
Because Raymond Ford is much more Silk style than the other fella, but Silk went on the other man, didn't he?
But he says that Ball annihilated him, which sounds very contrary and crazy.
Pitty patter, did nothing much.
Pitty patter, oh my God, he had the guys leaking. He had him leaking above both eyes. He had him swollen. He had him hesitating. He had him missing.
The first half of the fight, yes. Not the second
first half of the fight. Then the kid came on with, he showed great heart. He absorbed some wicked shots. The kid started pot shotting him and really found his range. And he was able to fight through that. What he didn't do, which I was really in admiration of, once the tide started going back the other way, coming back against him,
he didn't lose it.
Didn't panic. He stayed in the pocket and did what he had to do. He fought his fight. His reflexes were great. His vision was great. I'm sure, there's still work to do, obviously, at the level he's at. But I thought it was an exceptional fight. And I think, the judges, listen, the other kid is absolutely talented. Maybe they didn't give him the right advice in the corner in terms of taking that kid. He took him to the edge, but he didn't take him over the edge. And that's what he really needed to do. And he couldn't find that answer.
I'll tell you what I liked about the winner is that he fought every round.
Yes.
It's like a lot of these guys take a round off, and then, he fought every round to win every round. He tried 100% every round, and so a lot of credit for that. Yeah. And it was close.
Raymond Hales says that Ball was the busier, however, Ford landed the more meaningful shots. That's a point of view. I can understand.
I saw a lot of shots on Ford.
What does that mean?
Well, what? You mean what do meaningful shots mean?
Well, what does it mean? The guy was busier, but what does that mean? He was shaking his head, and the other guy was hitting him. What's busier?
No, he meant
throwing more punches.
I think he means more shots were cleaner shots, and the other were there was a lot of pitter patter and a lot of
he was throwing volume.
The odd one would come through, but then Ford was much cleaner when he contacted. He made.
But let me ask you then: if a gentleman isn't a puncher, but he hits, but not as hard as the other guy, but he hits you with a right hand, and he doesn't hit as hard, and the other guy hits you with a right hand, and his right hand he punches harder. Does that mean he should get more points because he hits harder?
No.
Let me give you an example, Silk. I always revert back to this.
Please answer my question. Don't give me an example.
No, fuck that. I'm going to give you an example because it is a way of answering your question, and it is the best thing that could possibly be said at this moment. It's been proven. For you as well, Gary. Now, listen, there was a. Yeah, I'm Bob Arum.
Yeah, don't get like that when you spar with me.
No, don't worry. I'll be clinically ice cold at that moment. Well, out cold. Listen.
Unconscious, yes.
Yeah. I can't wait for that, by the way. Listen.
You really fancy, don't you, Ben?
I
had some amazing comments, private DMs from people.
I know,
saying, this arrogant pricks. I said, don't be like that. I said, he's a nice man. He said, no, he's a cunt. He's a really good guy. Someone said, you've had such a career, Gary, and this guy just thinks he can walk in and just do what he wants. And does he have no idea of reality? And I said, no.
because I'd never sparred with a world-class pro before, have I? That's the thing. This is what they don't take into account. And they've seen it anyway.
No, you have. I'm sure you have.
I have. So, but it's... And I'm not saying I beat Gary Stretch Suck in 1991 or anything. Believe it. I'm talking about
You
my
just think
mate
I've
now who's
aged
50.
badly, don't you?
Yeah. No, I listen.
Is
What I
that
was
what
going
you
to say.
think? You think I've aged badly?
No, I don't think you've aged bad. I think you're doing good, Nick. I mean, I mean, as long as you can move your neck and actually turn around and
That's
face
the
me if I
biggest
go to the
issue. I'll
left.
have an MRI 27th of this month to see where my neck's at. Yeah, because I may have to
Yeah,
have
to
an
see if we get the green light. Listen, I want to give you an example, Mr. Elijah, based on your
you from
point.
a wheelchair, you cunt.
Yeah, I only heard the wheelchair cunt bit.
That's all
But
you need to hear.
yeah, that's fine.
I'll
Listen.
wheel around you and then spark you with a big left hook. I'll go left, right, turn the wheel on the right. You look at the wheel and I'll hit you with a left hook.
You guys are going to get me crying. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my God.
All I know is that you'd be the first, and that's fair enough. If you are the first to do it, it's fine. But there must be some reason why I believe in myself without disrespecting anybody
It's
else.
called
There has
delusion.
to be a reason for it. I'm not stupid, and I'm not young and misguided. I have experience, so there must be some reason. I want to
Years
talk
of
about
psychedelic drugs may be a factor.
they may be indeed. That's the acid test. Now listen, Silk.
Yeah.
I remember there was an interview once with a veteran British referee. His name was Paul Thomas, and Boxing
Mhm.
News magazine asked him, "I want to ask you, right? Because sometimes the referees were the sole scorers at club level, club show level in Britain, and they said, give you a scenario: fighter A lands 5 innocuous left jabs in the first round or any round, and fighter B lands 2 stiff right hands." He said, "Who do you give the round to? The guy who landed 5 left jabs or the guy who landed 2 big right hands?" And he said, "I would give it to the kid who landed the 2 rights." That is the argument. You don't have to agree with it, but that is the argument encapsulated for you there succinctly about meaningful punches versus volume.
No, it
Okay?
isn't. You're talking about a jab, which is a probing punch, and you're talking about a right hand, which is a committed, aggressive
Hence, meaningful
punch.
punches.
So that's almost like count. Like if you had a deck of cards and you're counting, like, is the ace, queen, king, and joker worth more than the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever numbered cards in the deck? Of course they are. They are. Yeah, yes, but if you're talking about, we're talking specifically about a right hand versus a right hand. One guy throws a right hand and hits him, and
No,
the
we're
other guy
not. No,
who's
we're
less
not
of a
talking like that,
puncher,
though.
throws the right hand and hits him, because that kid was hitting him not with just
Nobody
the jab.
specified right
That kid
hand
was
versus
hitting him
right
with the
hand.
left hook, the right hand, the left uppercut, everything.
Yeah, but nobody specified right hand versus right hand, Silk. Somebody said, meaningful punches. One guy was busier, the other guy landed more meaningful punches. You're right to say that seeks qualification, or you're right to seek qualification on it. But you're making your own narrative about right hand versus right hand.
How's
We're talking
that?
about volume versus power shots, essentially.
Well, I mean, that's changing it up, because that kid was winning on volume, right?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Your kid, ball was more in volume, right?
Yeah, he was
But-
more volume,
And
the other kid.
Ben says the other one had more aces
I
and
didn't
kings.
say it.
The other
Someone
kid
else
was
said it.
loading up, looking for one shot.
Maybe. Yeah. Sure.
But he's also the better puncher, right?
Ford, it's not like he's feather-fisted Ball either, is it? He's a hard punching pressure fighter. He looks like to me, but maybe Ford is a harder puncher. Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
So Raymond Hales right here says, depends on what you like, Silk. That's why we have 3 judges. It's almost like artistic impression. So that's why we have the dissimilarities in judges' scorecards for exactly
Without
this
question.
reason. What we're stating right
question.
now, like one person says, well, a jab has the same value as a right hand. A punch is a punch. And then someone else says, well, you don't value a jab the way you value a right hand or a left hook. They just have different, do you know what I mean?
Whereas in the amateurs, Silk, they did, supposedly. It was just literally, it was a punch, it was a scoring punch, and that was that. Particularly when they went to the computer. Having said that, when they went to the computer scoring in amateur boxing for a good 10 or 15 years or longer, actually, they were much more scoring on backhands, like backhands, either left or right.
More importantly, Ben, Clytus is still pretty than her face to you.
I know that, yes.
So you have to bring me up on this. Is that like an inside thing?
That's my role in Alexander, the movie.
Yes.
The 2 characters, Clytus I played in.
You're the only one who got that, Gary. You're the only one who got that. I know who the man behind
because
that
some
account.
of our audience are very educated.
Yeah,
See?
his name is Federico Martone. His name is Federico Martone.
So he
and
has
he's
some knowledge
a
on
good guy.
history, and he's also he knows a good-looking boy from someone else.
A pretender. Yeah.
I love it.
Listen, so that was the issue. Obviously, to be honest, scoring is hopelessly subjective. I think it gets worse and worse when we look at the differences of opinion on any fight. We had it with Taylor and Catterall. I dread to mention that again, but we had it with Taylor and Catterall too the other week. We had it with Fury Usyk. We had it last night. I think because the scoring criteria is so loosely defined, I think you're always going to get these problems. And we could count the punches like they used to do in the amateurs with the clickers or the computer, or else we could just have an overview and score the rounds based on that overview. But it's very difficult, quite honestly, to get a definitive verdict in a close fight, I think.
Next fight, please.
Shiraz, okay.
I thought that was the best performance of the night.
Which one?
Shiraz.
Hamza Shiraz versus Austin Ammo Williams.
I thought he beautiful. He had a little bit of a rocky beginning, and then it just showed world class, made adjustments, and completely.
I'm not so sure about that.
I thought he was great.
I
We agreed.
I
thought he
wouldn't
was
go to the
absolutely
point of
brilliant.
grade.
My favorite of the night.
I think early on he was hesitant. He didn't know what to do with this guy. He didn't know what he was dealing
And he
with.
worked it out. How great is that?
He worked it out, but he worked it out not in like I looked at him and I'm like, he had so much opportunity to do something from bell one. Like he wasn't prepared. He had to wait till this guy till he got this guy in deeper waters in order to do something. So when he comes up against somebody more complex with more ability, with more dexterity, he's going to have a bigger problem. This is a glaring problem in this young man's offense or defense.
He's
Absolutely.
only in the early stage of his career, Silk. He's developing. So this is
How many
part of
fights?
last night. He'll have grown 1,000% again.
Yeah, but how many fights has he had?
Some in the region of 18. I'll have a look for you.
I mean, 18. He's sitting on. He's sitting in world contender. Like he's about to get into the world ratings.
And he fought a guy last night, real world contention, and dismantled him.
Yeah, and who was his opponent?
In great fashion.
He's 20-0.
Okay, so 20 and
the guy that he fought, Ben, has got a great resume, right?
Well, he's world caliber. 20-0 when you're
and the guy that he fought, Ben, he didn't fight.
Well, no, hang on. I hope you're not saying a 20-0 guy is considered world caliber. That's absolute bollocks. If that's
no, it's not bollocks, and it's not absolute
either. Of course
either.
it is. It's just statistics.
Once guys with promotion start getting into the 20-win range, they're being considered for world title challenge. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, maybe they are because everybody is today, but that doesn't make them world
class.
Ben,
more importantly, Ben, on my rebuttal, tell Silk the resume of the opponent.
Okay. Ammo Williams has, let me see. I think he was in a similar kind of ballpark with the fights he'd had. 1 second. Yeah, Ammo Williams was... Fucking adverts pop up on BoxRec all the time. What's Ammo Williams?
Keep a civil tongue in your head.
Yeah, you said that in one of our early shows before we got the stretch.
You bring the show down, Ben, sometimes with your Luth foul mouth.
He's 16-1. Listen. I think, given a couple of your more ribald appearances, I feel that's a little bit pot and kettle.
Are you talking like an utter cunt again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's really, you know what? He's really loose with that word these days. Ben, what happened to you?
Yeah, why, Ben? When did the anger begin?
You kiss your mother with that mouth.
Well, he just said the C word, not me. I didn't say
it. You said that to me.
I say it with such grace.
I didn't say it to you.
You called me.
I said the words, Ben.
No, I didn't. I did not.
Ben, when I say the word cunt, it sounds like a nice, it's like a refreshing cup of tea. When you say your foul mouth, other things, it's terrible in the gutter.
Yeah, it's all about the delivery, Gary. I aspire to be better, and I live in your shadow. I think we've established that.
That's why you're angry and you want to box me. Let's get it.
Yeah,
now we're getting somewhere.
I have a serious case of resentment and Dunning-Kruger syndrome. I think it's something where you believe you're good at something, which you have massive delusions of grandeur regarding.
And when I box you, I'll let you know that I'll be carrying the grace and the flag of Silk on my shorts too.
Okay.
Sponsored by Silk.
Yeah.
You might
And we're
get
gonna
two birds
we'll
with
get
one
you a nice sponsor for the soles of your shoes, Ben, so everyone will see it when you're not flat on your back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey, how come we just took that clip down? Somebody had answered, somebody had retort, but okay, he didn't. And cunt is a term of endearment.
Yes,
Yeah,
Danny.
We keep saying it.
I have to admit, he's got a point. It is a term of
Do you know
Danny
what?
knows. Danny's an educated man.
Do you know what the problem is? If we keep saying it, because I do actually steer clear of that one, I'll say the other things. But it's because I think we may get our monetization limited on this video if we say it too many times. I feel we
Tell
will.
the YouTube people.
I
if
can
they
show
want
you,
to-
like you've called me that a number of times. I can find it in here, like in here.
Find it. Actually, literally produce the evidence. So, oh no. Oh, in the WhatsApp group I have. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And rightly so, I hasten to add.
So that
Rightly
means
so.
that means I'm an open book and you do it behind closed doors, Ben. That's
Yeah,
another.
I'm almost a closet racist if you want to
And
push it out a little bit further.
you constantly comment on my friend's physical. Uh,
Disability.
He's not disabled. He has an issue with an eye. Again, that's a slur. He's not disabled. He's a very well able man.
You know, I'm used to Ben and slurring. The two are synonymous.
He's a very in shape, beautiful specimen. He has a slight issue with his eye, but it doesn't stop him from performing.
And some would say my hair. They say I look like Pinhead from the movies.
No, you look like you just put your fucking finger in the electric socket.
Yeah, he probably has. They didn't call him Michael the Genius a larger day. Listen, let's get back to it. We were talking about Shiraz. So
Shiraz had the best performance of the night. This is not my opinion, it's a fact. And he was beautiful. He boxed absolutely within himself. He didn't get flustered. I felt he fought probably one of the hardest fighters of the night to beat. And and I do. I think that the guys are very awkward, very tough. Not an easy, like awkward fight. And I think that he did an amazing job. And I think he adjusted. And I think that he did a fucking great job. And so that's just my humble opinion. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, he got buzzed more than once. He looked like he was
big time in the first round.
And if the other gentleman had any idea on how to finish his opponent, what was his KO percentage? This kid he fought.
Well, I think that can be misleading too. But if you want it, I'll
no,
give it
it can't be misleading. Please just show me the evidence.
Well, yeah, but you need to know how to read a record.
Ben, provide the evidence, Ben.
Please. Yeah.
All right. Emma Williams' KO percentage.
He likes to butt up against everything.
I'll give you an example, like
Produce
I always do.
The evidence, Ben, no dialogue.
11 of 16, so the KO percentage.
11 knockouts out of 16.
68.7%.
I mean, that's not a bad KO percentage, but
well, he took
a
good guy and did it and didn't get disheartened and came back and tightened the screws, and after the first few rounds, he never got touched again.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job, Gary.
He was the most exciting prospect of the night for me.
I think it will do him a lot of good too, Shiraz. I think it will do him loads of good, that fight, which is an argument for this kind of matchmaking.
And I tell you, I do not think, like, I did not, when the fight was finished, I didn't say, oh my God, I wonder what's going to happen to him. I want to see him fight again.
I did. I thought
I didn't see him do anything other than he was consistently basic. He applied the basic terms to win a fight. He finally established his range, and he used the longer, you know what I mean? He fought from the outside. He fought a game of reflex, which was right for him. He adjusted that finally. It took him 4 or 5 rounds, maybe 6 rounds, and then finally he pulled away because of that. But it's something that's something you should know from the get-go. That's something he should know from the get-go. At 20-0, this is what you should be doing. And I understand some fighters, like, mentally sometimes, for one reason or the other, they feel like they can do it the other way, and they have to end up being convinced that they're doing it the wrong way, and maybe the corner said something and turned them around in the right direction. I can appreciate that, and I understand a young man being indecisive about what he should do. But all I'm saying is, from looking at it on the TV, this should have been a hell of a lot easier fight than it was.
No, it was fine. It was a 50-50 fight, they all said.
It was a handful, Emma Williams, I thought, and he's got balls, and he really came to win. You know, and he survived a lot of rocking moments himself, Williams. So He's definitely not the finished article, Shiraz, and maybe it was a little basic, but I think it
I
was.
mean, he didn't use a left hook for the first 5 rounds. Didn't use a left hook. Didn't use a body. Like he was trained by that one person that says, "Listen, the jab is the most important punch in boxing. All I want you to do is throw your jab, and you can't hit him with the jab. So, and he's not doing anything else. So he's looking at this guy for 5 rounds, and then finally the guy starts to maybe suck a little bit of wind, leave himself more open, and then finally he takes advantage of it and stops the guy. But he didn't do. I don't think he deciphered the guy. He didn't take him apart. The guy's fatigue, the guy's lack of, maybe he doesn't have the winning attitude anymore. It could be any number of things. But it wasn't like he came in like a scientist.
He had the winning attitude, though. I mean, he came to win Hammer Williams, and that's his only loss.
Well, he has a fighter's attitude. I don't know about a
He was
winner's
undefeated.
attitude. He certainly has a fighter's attitude, but I don't know if he thought or he came to win. I don't know that.
No, he came to win. He so came to win, so you could see that. You could see it.
He came to fight. Sometimes coming to fight and coming to win are two different things. I know you may think it's semantics, but it really isn't.
No, it's not semantics. I don't think I see what you see. You're right. That's an interesting distinction. Coming to fight is not always coming to win, perhaps. Do you know what I also think? I don't want to sidetrack too much, but when someone comes out bombing against a known lethal puncher, sometimes it's because their nerve's gone and their bottle has gone, and that's why they come out like that. So you're right. Coming to fight. Because if you get knocked out like that, everybody can say, "Oh yeah, but he went out on his shield." And it's like, no, he bottled it, and he pressed the self-destruct button because he must have known what was going to happen.
Exactly. Yep.
So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So
Next
fight is done. Next up,
Bivol. That was entertaining while it lasted. Malik Zinard came and had a go.
I fell asleep. What happened?
Well, basically, Zinard came out and stuck it on Bivol and really went at him. Landed a few shots as well. And Bivol thought, okay, this is how you want it. I'll come to you and I'll open up as well. And he made Bivol uncharacteristically aggressive. They had a bit of a shootout, and Bivol won because he's a superior fighter. But it was upbeat, and it was, the guy came to earn his check as well,
Yeah, and what did it go the distance or?
No, he stopped doing. I believe it was the 6th round.
Wow,
5th or the 6th. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the first time where
until the stoppage, he was a bit awkward, but then Bivol dropped him early.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and then first round, and then he got up. Then he was very awkward, the guy, and he was giving Bivol a little to deal with, and then Bivol clipped him again and was very efficient in stopping him. Yeah, jumped on him immediately and got rid of him. Yeah, it was very good. It's a great outing for Bivol to prep for his next fight, which is the big one against Bertabiev. Couldn't have better preparation. Yeah.
It was a good little run, wasn't it? It'd be a valuable little outing for him going ahead of the Bivol. Sorry, the Bertabiev fight.
The next payday, he'll be very happy this morning.
I still say you beat Bertabiev as well. I know I think you don't agree, Gary.
No.
That he beat Bertabiev? Yeah, that's such a toss-up. I don't even know.
I know he's Bivol's very competent on every department, but I think Bertabiev has got freaky strength, and he'll find him.
Maybe.
And I think Bertabiev is a lot better than. He's not just a crazy, strong, tough. I think
he isn't. Absolutely.
No, he's method in it.
But I think Bivol has a defensive instinct. His inclinations, his defensive inclinations his reflexes are incredible like that. I think he has more defense than he has shown us. He you know what I mean? He doesn't have to show as much defense as I think he has, the abilities he has. I think
it'll be a real 50-50.
Room to spare. That's really a throw. Like, that's why I think that's the best fight that could be made in boxing today. I can't see a better fight.
And it's a shame it didn't come off on the card. Unfortunately, it didn't.
No, I think it's better that that has its own venue. That one, I think it's a special fight.
Sure. So, moving on.
Let's go to the next fight.
Dubois versus Hrgovic, that was another one of your picks, Gary. You did, and you called it so well, Gary, because you said the way you broke it down, Dubois. You said, okay, he had that issue against Joe George, but it's mitigated by the broken orbital bones. His defeat with Alexander Usyk wasn't without a caveat, and he was competitive. And you're saying he's getting better, he's improving, he's maturing, and Hrgovic is nothing special. He's overconfident, and he's going to do him. And you were right. He took so many right hands to Dubois early doors. But
thank you. And I think, Ben, it's very important that you realise that, not you, I mean everyone, that realises that he's fought much better level than Hrgovic. So he's been at such a higher level, and it matters. And I think Hrgovic, he looked unprepared. He looked like he took it for granted.
I think
and
he
got
did.
the shock of his fucking life. Yeah.
Which is
and
crazy.
It looked like he was going to knock. Huh?
He's just blew $50 million Hrgovic to fight Joshua. That's the biggest fuck up he's ever made in his life.
That's crazy. Because Hrgovic's trainer, what's his name? Junior welterweight.
Ronnie Shields.
Yeah. I'm surprised he went in there unprepared with Ronnie Shields, because Ronnie Shields is, he's a notable trainer. He's very good. And I don't he just wasn't prepared for that. He wasn't. First of all, I have to take my hat off to Dubois. I did not think that I'd seen it before, you know what I mean? I'd seen sparks of it, but I just there was something about him that was so hesitant and so.
I tell you what I like about Dubois. I don't want to make this sound like a negative. He's very simply minded in his. He's like a child almost. He's young, but he's got a very endearing quality. He's like a child.
Yes.
But I can imagine when he has that kind of personality, he can mold him. And I think he's got good, loving people around him.
Yeah.
They give him this good, solid instruction. He fully takes it, believes in it, and goes and does it. And he was on a mission last night because it all worked out, and he stuck to his plan like a good kid. Didn't let anyone, and he came, and I think he's dangerous because a little more experience, a little bit of tweaking here and there. He looked big, he looked strong. He can give Joshua problems because he'll catch Joshua, and if he does, he's a banger.
Well, I do have to say, I do think that if he comes up against a more complex offense, he's going to have a problem, especially someone like Joshua who plants his feet and punch. This other kid, I
think Joshua's the best right now on form. I think Joshua. I think he's kind of got a second wind. I really think he's turned it around. And you know what I love about him? I saw him interviewed last night. He said it was inspired him the whole night. And they said, what was inspired? He said, no, I've got to go back to the gym and I got to really work on some things to be dominant. And he's a student. He never stops trying to learn. Sometimes over tries and doesn't value himself enough. I think, and what's good about Ben Davidson, he's reminded him what he's good at. He's took him back to basics and just be old AJ. Don't get all this fancy stuff he's trying to learn, which is way too old in the tooth. Just be the great AJ. Have some confidence, and he's a bit like Dubois, simplified, good advice, fundamentals, and it's tough to beat because he's never going to be a Floyd Mayweather or one. No. He's a different breed, but he's a competent, strong, big, fundamentally good heavyweight, and that's enough to give a lot of people problems as you know, in the heavyweight division.
What do you think of Dubois, guys? What do you think if Dubois and Usyk meet again?
I think it'd be interesting. I don't think Usyk would get rid of him. I think now he looked big and strong. Yes, he's gained quite a bit of weight, right, Ben?
Well, who, Dubois?
Yeah, he came in about 20 pounds heavier or something.
Wow,
is that right? I'll have to have a look.
He looked really big and strong. Yeah, he looked.
But massive. I don't think it'd make any difference. I don't think
he looked really like he was coming into he looked like a fucking.
Usyk still beats Dubois, still beats Joshua, as far as I'm concerned. Some people like to spin these things based on somebody fighting somebody else and beating someone else.
No, I think it's about development, and you watch people and momentum, and everything's about timing. And that's about the great promoters, the great managers is to get the right guy at the right time.
Well, as long as there's always growth, and that's the thing about boxing. You're only, like they say, you're only as good as your last fight, and it literally is true. Only because those are the skills you've exhibited, but you have to go back to the gym, and you always have to work on new things, and you have to reinforce the things and you need to add on new weaponry. You always have to, increase the cachet of weapons that you have. It's
I love
that's
what
your-
you say, Silk. I love what you always say, because it's not like you always say, so you lose, okay, brush it off and move. Like, as long as you keep learning, it's not so a big deal. You know what I mean? Fighters fight. You can win something. All the great fighters lost.
yeah.
Or most of them.
Most of-
And
answer
come
your
away
question
from
about the
it better.
weight, Gary. Dubois
Yeah.
was about 14 pounds heavier last night.
Yeah,
than
and
he was
he looked
for
great.
Miller.
He
So
looked great.
I don't see
And
how.
his engine was amazing last night. He never stopped.
Yeah.
that was great. And he took a lot of right hands, didn't he?
No problem at all.
I don't know if he took them flush. He took one or
No,
two.
he didn't.
I think he was
Yeah.
riding him, Silk.
Yeah.
A little bit, but he took a few, but he didn't determine all, which is great. And
Yeah.
we're getting to Wilder next, but that was a shocker for me.
Okay, so good. I'm glad you mentioned that, Gary. So Dubois, Hergovich, that was your pick. That came out for you. You were on Wilder. I was on Zhang, so I finished on a winning note at least on the night. Most
I was
people.
on Wilder under the premise that he had something left. Last night was.
I went with the guy with better fundamentals who can punch himself, got a great chin, and against the guy who didn't look so awful last time out. Yeah.
I took Wilder as well, but I took Wilder. I was like, he has 3 rounds to get him out, and after 3 rounds, it's over.
Are you telling me that you picked Wilder and you won a loss on the column, or not? Can I put that in there?
Sorry, I'm saying that I lost. I lost Wilder. I picked Wilder.
Did you?
And,
okay, great.
Oh no,
Thanks
no!
for honesty.
You know what was
Thanks for your
sad?
honesty.
Let me tell you something. If you'd have watched Wilder last night for the first time,
Yeah.
if no one had ever seen Wilder fight before and it was his pro debut, you would say he should not be in a professional boxing ring.
No.
But you know what, Gary?
Most
In the
horrific
old days, people
performance
were
I've
allowed
ever seen.
to get old. In these days, everybody says they're exposed and they were never any
No,
good.
no, but Ben,
No, come
you
on.
can't. If it's one thing if you no longer have the capability to withstand shots and all of this, or you're. But the basic fundamentals of Wilder last night were horrific. He looked like he was terrified to be in there. He got clipped a couple of times and both times turned away.
Yeah.
He doesn't react normally the way fighters react to being hit. It's almost like it's so alien for him. And I can't understand that because he was an amateur fighter as well. He got a bronze medal in the Olympics. I don't understand how he reacts at this point in the year after sparring with so many people and sparring with so many people, competing as an amateur and competing as a professional, and you respond that way when you get hit, when you get buzzed. It's just unnatural. I don't get that. Like
he's lost all confidence in himself,
but that's always been a thing with him. Like whenever you see him get hurt, he does things kind of like I wouldn't say spasmodic, but it's kind of not normal.
Julian McGowan says, never rated Wilder. Had Zhang inside 6, but Wilder did look horrendous and a faded force. Legs have totally gone. I do raise the fact the man is 38. I mean, it was... Nobody said Ali's was overrated when he got...
But Ali in his worst still was amazing. He may not have had the resilience and all.
I tell you what, I take the Ali that fought Trevor Berbick over Wilder.
So would I. But the one that fought Holmes was absolutely woeful.
Yeah, but even in the 4th round in that fight against Holmes, I would still take that Ali over Wilder. I'm telling you.
Wilder looked shockingly bad. It was sad. It happens, I guess, but I've never seen it happen as bad as that.
Listen,
so he should really retire, and he's had a great career. He's amazing. Yeah. Like 42 knockouts is not luck. It's 42 is 42. So you can't Gary, do the British Boxing Board interview you if you're badly beaten in a fight, say lose in 30 seconds? No, they don't interview you. If you get stopped, normally you have to go and have or you get knocked out. You have a scan, and you have to make sure you're physically,
Is it 90 days over there?
No, you know what it is. You'll get like a. It depends. Sometimes you'll get a 28-day suspension. That's
28 days. That's it.
Yeah. Sometimes you get the double. Sometimes you'll get double.
That was the problem with Ben's career. He was out the ring for years.
Yeah. Listen, I held the English knockout record at one point. I was out for 10 minutes once.
You were.
Really? You were practically dead. Oh my
Yeah.
God. 10 minutes. That doesn't
Was you
make
really
sense.
I am joking. You know that, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
You thought I was being fucking serious. Come on, get with
I
the
thought you
program,
were.
Elijah Day. Come on. These aren't
You might,
toys.
you might get that record soon.
Yeah, well, I might do.
Ooh.
Yeah, I might get
You
it.
don't
Yeah.
want to get stretched, sugar. You do not want to get stretched.
Yeah, you've already done that pun in the WhatsApp group. It's all right.
Can't wait for this.
Certainly going to be. It's certainly going to be a moment. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Ben. It's going to be every time you hit me, $10 to you. Every time I hit you, $1 to me.
Okay.
And what do I
It's got to be dollars, yeah. It's got to be dollars.
Or pounds. Every time you hit me with a clean shot, I'll give you a tenner. Every time I hit you, you give me a pound.
What do I get from this deal?
You're splitting with me the winnings.
He should be a neutral referee, really. But that's
We'll
how
have,
we have to do
we'll
it.
have him ref. We'll fly him into ref.
Okay.
Okay, I could do the ref thing. We got to do it in Atlantic City at the Hall of Fame.
And he can be the MC. He'll go seconds out, first and last round.
I want to do the Michael.
Julian
Puff-
McGowan says Ben was the stereotypical smoothie, durable, not a big puncher. I was the chinny banger. Had to admit that's Julian said himself. He was a chinny banger, which
Oh,
I see.
A lot
I
of
see
big
Julian
punches
box.
are a bit chinny, you know that.
Wasn't that a movie? That's
It's funny, isn't it? That
Yeah,
Ben?
it was about a car, right?
The
Have you
flying
noticed, Ben? A lot of the big hitters were chinny. You know that.
Yeah, funny little. Some of them. I mean, a guy
It's a
like George
funny
Foreman, obviously not.
statistic.
But
No, a lot of
John
like, if you look
McGarvey,
at Ben was a bit suspect.
Nigel
if you call
Ben, Joe Lewis, little bit, tiny bit fragile, arguably around the whiskers.
Wilder,
Wilder.
Well,
There's
no
Wilder,
point,
is
Gary.
different. Wilder, you definitely touch him. You touch him on the chin, you get a result. Although, I mean, listen, that guy has incredible heart. What he's been able to accomplish, I admire what he's been able to do with what he's got.
It's
Tommy
amazing.
Hearns. Tommy Hearns.
Tommy Owens was a bit, yeah. And
Tiny
And
bit fragile.
that's another one. I don't think he's chinny. Here's what I think the thing with Tommy is Tommy commits. He sets, when he punches, he does not think defense. He thinks offense. And so when he gets hit, he's tensing up to the hit. He takes full frontal, like he gets it dead on the point, dead on the chin every single time. And his body is tight, so there's no reverberation. Bam, you hit it, the whole thing he just absorbs all of it. You see fighters that are looser, they get hit and they go with the punch, they're able to turn with it and they take off. You take a lot off the punches, but
Breland.
You've got to remember, Ben, as well, you didn't get knocked out that much either because you fought a lot of girls.
Yes, but listen, that's matchmaking. Everybody does that. In fact, it will be interesting to
Although
actually
the
spar
girls
with
now,
someone.
Ben, might give you problems.
Say again.
The girls now would give you a lot of problems.
What you talking about? The top girls, yeah.
For sure, they give anyone problems. These girls are amazing.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's not a revelation to
There
me.
are
I
some
was, to be
amazing
honest,
girls. Tell you, some of these girls are fantastic
I was in
and
the
braver than the boys. I tell you, I've seen the best fights of the girls. Better, they got more heart than the men.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
amazing. The girls. I don't like watching it because I'm a bit old fashioned, but I take my hat off. They're fucking amazing. These girls, and they're so brave and tough.
Well,
and
some of them are right. Some of them are.
a lot of them are. Come on, Ben. Most of them.
Every girl that I've seen is like, oh my God, they're just relentless.
They're amazing. I mean, you got to take your hat off to these girls. They're ferocious. But it is like, look at nature. Like the lionesses are the killers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're the ones that do the hunting and what have
Yeah,
you.
they're amazing.
That's really competitive. Plus, I think they also have to deal with a lot of men think, well, don't fight like a girl, don't cry like a girl, or that. So I think they sometimes compensate for that, and they consciously make an effort not to cry, and if they get hit, not to show any pain and never quit. And these are
It takes
good
a lot of
qualities
courage to do that. You know what I mean? It's one thing saying it, but to do it, you've got to have that.
Oh yeah.
Talking of
Amazing.
lionesses, and it's quite a nice segue into the question we got asked at the top of the show before we even went live. A gentleman called Winston asked us, and let me see if I can find it all the way at the start, although I don't think it is here now. But what he said was, he said, how important to being a successful boxer is being a good family man, and more specifically, a good father. He said he tends to think it's quite important. Elite fighters always talk about their children and securing their children's future, and so they don't have to do what they had to do. And he said he struggles to think of a successful fighter who wasn't a good father. Obviously, backstage, me and
No,
Silk said we could think of a whole bunch.
obviously, it gives you motivation if you're fighting for a family. But I know a lot of great fighters who were wild men, single and crazy. But you know, it's not a fundamental. But of course, it gives you a basic driven momentum motive if you've got a family and you need to. I mean, that's why you got to love Wilder. He got into this business because he had a child who was sick and he wanted to secure a future. And what he did is extraordinary. Oh, I love him, and I still love him. Even last night, it was sad, but it's time to retire with an amazing career that I can be proud of. One night doesn't define that man. He's amazing, and I think, and he's got more heart than anyone. And but there's a time you have to leave a party early sometimes, and that's it's times.
Well, and it's not early, is it? It's not early. Like I say,
he's give everything to the sport. He's give everything, and he's got more.
I think they kind of haven't figured out by now. You know what I mean? Like once everyone's kind of got a beat on him, you know, after losing to Parker, now he lost to Zhang.
It's a bit like Tyson when that invincibility gets broken, people don't freeze anymore.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Tyson's momentum when he was, I mean, Tyson was amazing, but most people were never the complete selves when they fought him because they shit themselves. He had that invincibility around him and people froze. I'm sure a lot of them didn't get the best of themselves when they fought Tyson because they probably froze a bit. But once the safe got cracked, people started not being so terrified, got mentally more prepared, and he'd give him more problems. That's why I knew there would be an issue with. I even bet on Holyfield because I said he's such a good pro. He's going to weather the storm, take him into deep water, and then we'll really see. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And I tend to think Evander might have all of them beaten him just based on the mental aspect of those two fighters, you know.
But Ben, what was the question? Could you repeat that question that you asked?
From Winston about being a good father and how important is it to being successful as a fighter, being a good family man and a good father? He says he identifies most successful pugilists that he can think of as good family men and good fathers, responsible figures, and is that important? But I'm talking to Mike Tyson.
I don't think so at all. I think that absolutely I mean, I'm going to be contrary here, which is kind of new to our dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think so at all. I think fighters are extremely and they have to be, selfish, absolutely self-absorbed. And they have to be self-absorbed because if you're not going to be able to provide for your family.
Silk, it is okay to stop after you've retired now. It's been a long time since your last fight. You can stop that now.
I can stop what?
Being self-absorbed. Come on, you walked onto that one, Chad.
No, it's the same old thing about business. It's about people who go to work and they work 20 hours a day to secure their families, and the kids grow up and they never had a father. But the father thinks he's doing the right thing, but the child misses. You can't have both. Sometimes
it's true, but the father does have to be more present in the home. They have to consciously make an effort to be in the home and to be in the child's life because the child needs to know how to hunt. The world outside the house.
But a lot of fighters take the kids to the gym. You know, a lot of the fighters have the kids in the training camps. You know, it's not all.
But it's not the same as having your father knows what you're going to come up against, and because he knows his mother, he knows the mother, and he knows himself. He knows what the reaction is going to be when the kid comes up against these things. And what happens is fathers miss that opportunity. Then we don't consciously, and I'm the father myself, I've done the same thing. We don't take the moment in time to teach our children because the hustle, you got to hunt, you have to provide, you have to do all these things. And then finally, when you get home, you get a chance to sit and rest, and you have to take that time for yourself. But you have, you have an offspring, and that offspring has to know how to operate in the world. And you don't want your child learning from the outside world. You want your child learning from yourself. and that's where we kind of drop the that's where we kind of drop the ball, and that happens with all fighters, and it happens with everybody that's successful. It happens to guys that aren't athletes, and they're billionaires and billionaires, and their children don't know anything of any common sense, only because their father hasn't taught them. They haven't learned, so they don't respect the world in the way the world should be respected. And everyone learns the same lesson over and over again. It's a reoccurring thing, and it's frustrating, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Highly eloquent answer to a question asked by one of the fans. I can't disagree with you on
Right,
any of
Ben.
that, really.
It's
What's
time
Nigel
to
Chicken
wrap up.
saying? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, we're silent. Is there silent for a reason?
I think we're just savouring a very unusual phenomenon with the three
Oh,
of us all
wow.
on screen. But,
Yeah,
I thought you were going to wrap it up, Ben. It's 12:15.
yeah,
20.
I am going to wrap it up. Sean Graham had asked that we go longer than an hour because it was his birthday as a special birthday treat.
Okay,
we
then
did
we'll
so.
continue for another few minutes.
No,
for sure.
no. That was my close, man. It just I was doing it. We did do it more than an hour. That's it. It's hard to be slick with you two around, but you know I'm probably going to find that out later as well, right? Listen, we did go longer than an hour, Sean, just for you, but we are ready to wrap it up now. Well done, Silk and Stretch. I think that was a good show. You know, particularly standout. You're both brilliant as always.
Okay, can I just say that I really am upset that I didn't get a chance to state my argument on why you guys were initially.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it with that.
Go on,
No interference, Ben. No matter
You
what he
wanna wrap
said.
it with that?
Let's hear your day in court. Come on.
All right, so here was my thing. I was saying we have this friendly contest going on where we predict the outcome of the fights. If you win, you get a win. If you win, a win in the win column, right? If you lose, you get a loss in the loss column. Really plain, very simple. There's never been if you win, you get 2 points, and if you lose, you get 2 points. It's simple win-loss system, not a point system. Now, these gentlemen right here, Gary and my man Ben, these gentlemen mutually got together and said, "I don't like the way Michael boasts and gloats. So let's change the game
that's what
and
he's
give
putting words in
one
our mouth.
win. And let's give one win the value of 2 wins while he's not here." And I
Same
don't
point
know
system
whose
as the
screenshot that
Queen's.
No,
was.
I said
So let me finish. Please allow me to
Still
finish.
gets the same points as we do. If he wins, he gets 2.
So do you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like saying Ali beat Frazier, but I'm also going to give Ali another
What would you
W
have
on his
said?
record for beating George Foreman, even though he hasn't fought George Foreman yet.
But
That's
still, if
bizarre.
we're all on this, if
No
we're
one
all on
does
this,
that.
if we're
What would
all
you
on
have
the
said
same
if you'd have been on the
system-
show
Ben,
and he
hang on a
said,
sec- Ben, hang on a second. If we're all on the same-
So
if we're all
what
on
you
the
guys
same
essentially
system-
did, is you changed the value of a win. You made a win worth 2 wins. One win worth 2 wins.
no,
But if you're on the same
We're
quadrupled
operating
it.
on a win-loss scenario, not a
Ben, let me
points win
speak,
scenario.
Ben,
So
Ben,
tell me
let me
how you
speak.
figure this one out.
Let me ask you: if we're all on the same system, it's all equal because you get double points too if you win. So
Yeah, but I wasn't getting not at all, because at the end of it, Ben comes to me and says, "Oh, we changed it." This is afterwards. It's not before.
no, but if you're in the contest making your picks, whatever you win, you get the point system that we get.
What would you have said if you'd have been in on the show and he said, "Let's use the same point system they're using"? What would you have said, knowing that you were going to participate?
I would say no, because it's not the same. Because we do a win-loss system. We're not doing a point
Okay,
system.
we learned our lesson. We'll just do the old system.
Gary, I will say I'm a little bit disappointed you buckled so easily because
No, I
thought
didn't. No. I'll put it on Silk now. But it's,
Thank you.
I understand. If he wants to stick to the old system, no problem.
No, you know what I like.
Silk.
I'm
You know
still
what
at
I love about you, Gary.
I'm-
Like you
I'm
had the ability to you can adapt to a situation and you're open with your thinking. And I mean, I have to think it must be because you've been out in the world and you've experienced all different cultures and people and all that kind of stuff. Whereas,
Ben's been
wait,
stuck
that
in that
guy
room.
over-
Ben's been stuck in that room with
Ben
anger.
was hardlining. But Ben was hardlining me. He's like, no, that's just the way it is.
Okay,
Well, Gary said, "I'm going to stick it on him tonight. I'll put him right in his place." And then now he said, "All right, let's take."
I'm not rebuttaling. I said at the opening of the show, we're going to go on a new system. That's the way it is. If you don't, but if he wants the old system, we'll give it to him. It's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I'm cool with that.
Thanks,
It's It is what it is. It is what
So
it is.
we remain united, and it feels so good. Reunited because you understood. There's one
Yeah.
perfect thing, and sugar, this one is it. We
And
both
just
got
to
so
let you
excited
know, on the
'cause
old
we're
system that
united.
we on the old system that we've agreed to stick on, I'm still the dominant figure.
I think I'm winning. Oh no, I think you
No,
just
no.
No, he's
Ben,
winning now.
what's the points on the old system, Ben? Now,
On the old system, I'm going to have to look at it because I'm confused now. But what? Let me tell you, at least you got
I
4-2
love
last night. I
Julian.
got
Look
3.
at Julian.
You shut up. You shut up. You got 4-2 last night. I got 3-3. That is the additions. He is 1-0, and we're not taking the Wilder thing off, even though he admitted he picked Wilder as well.
Wait,
We're going to give him a
what
pass
am I?
as always.
oh, he picked Wilder. Take it off.
Shall we?
What?
Absolutely.
What? Where's the
He's
say?
1-1 last night.
You pick Wilder. Now I'll put you in your place. You pick
Yeah,
Wilder.
go
You
on.
took the
You've
loss.
got to take the rough with the smooth.
Take the roughness of silk. You can't have it.
Wait. So what?
Oh, you
What was my record last night?
1-1.
1-1.
Damn.
I was 4-2. Ben
I was
was
3-3.
3-3. There you
Not
go.
a bad night.
So it's,
There
you
we
know,
go.
you're batting 500. That's your
And
usual.
now, Ben, with that, can you please add it up and just let's hear it?
No, because I'm confused where we were at now. But I know that I am 16-13. I'll have to look at your scores.
Come on,
16 or
Ben.
13. Holy crap.
Come on, Ben. You can do it.
Yeah, you're the whiz
Fuck's
here.
sake,
You're the
Come
financial.
on, Ben. Don't let me down. You've been the anchor for years.
I think you're 20
You're an anchor, all right.
7.
I mean, it's slowing us
I think you're
down.
20-7, and he's going to be, I believe, 15-6. I think, but I'll have to look at it. I will.
All right, look at it
No,
very
not
carefully.
15 and 6. Blimey, blow me
We'll
down.
see what you are and exactly where you are very shortly. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this disjointed podcast. Some of you say it's the best thing online. Who are we to disagree with you? The fans are people. Remember, like, subscribe, support, spread the word, worship us or die. Okay, peace out.